Hey, I'm Pascal from Orangepixel, and today's gonna be a fun little video. I had a contest running for the current game I'm working on, Residual, a tileset contest. It's still running till the end of this month, so you still have a couple of weeks to work on it after watching this video, of course. Don't start now, first watch the video, then see if you want to create a tileset for the game. The contest is pretty simple, there can be multiple winners. It's just create a tileset for the game based on the rules. I posted it on Discord, and if that tileset is then good enough to be in the game, your name will be in the credits. You'll get a PC copy of the game and a hoodie with Orangepixel logo on. So well, something like this, but Orangepixel hoodie. So before I start talking about these tilesets and giving my feedback and my vision of things, this is not a criticism on the people making these tilesets. They're all pretty damn good, but some of them just don't fit the style of Residual or the vision I have for Residual. And that's how I'm gonna be judging these tilesets. Do they fit the game style? Do they look good in the game? Because there's a lot of stuff going on in this game with the tileset. There are multiple layers and things like that. So it either looks good and I like it, or it doesn't really fit the game and it's not gonna be in. That's pretty much all I'm gonna be judging this. So after the intro, we're gonna look at the tilesets. Alright, we have 10 tilesets. I'll open them up all in GIMP so we can just look at the tilesets, how they look normal, and then I'll put them all in the game and we'll have a look how they appear in the game. And there is a difference between what you see in GIMP and what you'll see in the game, because the game, first of all, the tilesets is created out of multiple layers. So you have the normal layer, the tileset, but then on top of that, depending on the type of planet, we'll have dirt and grass layers and snow layers. So the name of these layers is just pretty much how the nature of the planet will create it in the game. But that doesn't mean it has to be dirt and it has to be grass. It can just be imagination gone wild. So and of course in the game we'll also have a bunch of light effects, which makes everything look different, usually better, but at least very different. So first we're gonna look at them in GIMP. So the first tileset, and the first thing that hits me is that it's very blue. This tileset was created by Formy on the Discord, and we already talked about it, and he also entered another tileset which is a little bit of a modification on this one. So I'm still gonna talk about this one as well. I do like how it looks, except just a little bit colorless. It could have been, even with just the blue tones, there could have been a little bit more variation here. And for those that haven't followed it, one of the rules, very few rules for the tileset, was to use the palette that I'm using in the game. So there are different variations of blue you could have used here that might have made it a little bit different. And I also like my tilesets to have some sort of contrast. So moving into black in the middle, in the center. Let me just also open up one of my own tilesets. The first one I created for the game, which really set the look for the game. And I really went for a deep dark in the middle so that there's a lot of contrast on the outside of the walls and the floor and everything. And it's a lot easier to fill everything up with blackness. I think this tileset is pretty good. It's I would not have gone for all the blue, as mentioned. That's really, I guess that's the biggest downside I have with this tileset. It's just very blue, and these colors don't match very well with that blue. This is his alternate version from Formy. As you can see, he added more color, and his first version I saw it on Discord was very colorful. So yeah, I like this one with the colors, with a little bit more color here and there. Yeah, not a bad tileset. And this was the same as the previous one. I really love these things. They look amazing in the game, and also this one at the top, it's pretty cool. Of course, then we have a grass layer, which is very literally grass layer here. I think this is just a very much, and maybe some extra spacey areas here and there, and less green. And this is the dirt layer, as we call it. It shares a lot of colors with the main layer, so I'm not sure how that's gonna look in the game. Possibly give this a very different type of color to make it stand out more, but we'll see in the game in a minute. Moving on to the next one. This is from Gendgi, also a regular on the Discord. His first tileset, and the theme was meat, I guess. Meat, monsters and eyeballs. I like that whole concept. I'm not so much in love with what's going on with this. It's a bit messy with these dark lines, and this is very Nintendo-like graphics, which a lot of pixel artists or people trying to get into pixel art mimic this style a lot. But keep in mind that the Nintendo was very limited in what was possible, or back in those days all the computers with 8-bit were very limited. You could have done a little bit more with colors, and you did it over here, so you suddenly have these. They look different from these two. So there's already a style variation just within 4 tiles. This looks a bit messy. I would have preferred that a bit different. Same goes for this. It's a bit messy what's going on here. For me, when you create pixel art, there are always little rules you should stick to. You should set those rules for yourself, define them, and then stick to it when you're working on a single piece or single graphic set for one game. Same with this. This looks okay, but this is a completely different look. These should be alternates of each other. So this should have still been red like we see in this one from Formy. This is one version, and this one is just an alternate version that the game engine will switch between. So these tiles have to exactly match these, and then these are another alternate. And in this case, it's just 3 different tile sets. I think if you split it up, you have a red, a purple, or pinkish, and then an even more purplish. These could have been 3 different tile sets, but this one is a bit messy. Not sure what's going on here. Not a fan of this one. There's a lot going on here. I think it's gonna be looking a bit messy in the game. Moving on to Genji's second tile set. This one looks much more uniform. This tile set, this area works perfectly with this alternate version, and you can see more defined rules on how we build up his tiles. So really fan of how this looks. Not sure about this gray stuff, if that's damaged metal. I would have given it a little bit more detail or a little bit shading here as well. It doesn't really make sense, there's no shading. Or if it's really shiny metal, I would have made it more clear that it is shiny. For example, maybe add a little bit more of these pixels, and because it's under there, I think you're using this. So this is the shade. Where are we? Maybe add some shading here and there so that you can see that there's actually depth between that and the metal layer underneath. I think that would have given it a better look, but that's just still possible to do because the contest isn't done. You can still modify these tile sets if you like and if you want, and if you're still interested. So really like it. This is also the grass layer being made out of wires, and that really works well. I'll just show in a minute. He decided to completely skip the dirt layer. I'm not a fan of it, but I can understand it. In this case, yeah, I can understand that the dirt layer would be gone. But personally, if I end up using this tile set, I probably fill this dirt layer up with little mechanical thingies, like little radars or little gadgets, things that will act as an extra layer on top of it. I think that's possible. Plants, all done with wires and stuff, and I really like that. The concept is very well done. Not a fan of these dark lines here and there, but it's not everywhere, so it might actually work. The background art is amazing. Love it. Nothing bad to say about it. Alright, tile sets from Nathan, and he submitted multiple tile sets, so he was really in the mood to creating tile sets, and this one was his first, and I really love it. There is literally nothing here. Well, there's always something I can complain or talk about, but I like it. A very thick grass layer. Somehow it really works well in the game. I'll just show in a minute. I didn't think it would, but it does. It looks very different from everything else, so very cool idea. And then the dirt layer is it's bluish, but it really works. So I'm gonna show you in a minute. The variation is pretty cool. Not a lot of variation in these tiles, but honestly, I don't have variation in these tiles either, or not everywhere. Often these things are just covered in most of these extra layers and you won't really notice the variation. Anyway, still it's very easy to create alterations here. Not a big deal. And over here we have all these plant thingies, and it really fits the thick grass. This is very nature-based planet. So think it looks amazing. And then we have very Japanese type background art, and why not? I'm all for it if it looks good, and this one does. I'll show you in a minute. Moving on to Nathan's second tile set. I'm less enthusiastic about this one, and I'm not really sure why. The problem I think I have is with the highlight in the edges that's everywhere, and I'm not really sure what it is, but something in this tile set is off, and I really think it's just these white edges being on all these sides. And I understand why it's done, and it should work, but it doesn't. For some reason, for me, it doesn't work. Still a great tile set, and in many games this would fit perfectly, but I'm not sure it will fit in Residual. Haven't really decided on it yet, because I do like how it looks. Just not sure if it fits. I love these layers, red grass and then green dirt like stuff. Again, why not? Although I might mix these up if I do end up using it in the game, because it makes more sense when nature has green stuff growing. It's just visually more direct and clear to the player than red, especially if a hot planet is green and a normal planet is red. That just disconnects people's brains, so I might switch those over. The background art, love it. Looks awesome, looks amazing, fits with the style of the tile set. And the plant life, yeah, not sure about this, but it works. So sure, it doesn't have to be flowers and plants, it can also be a little bit of a grass layer. So it does kind of work. Moving over to the third tile set from Nathan. Really like this one with gems. The only thing that I was really noticing when putting it in the game is the engine sees this as flowers, and flowers move in the wind. If these things start moving in the wind, they look like weird floppy things and not like hardened gems. But I can modify the game engine pretty simple for that. I can just disable the wind on those things if needed. So not against this, it actually looks pretty amazing. Also these background art thingies, although maybe the axe is a little bit too, I'm not sure, it's a very big axe compared to everything around it, but that's just one thing that could be changed. And yeah, the tile set is pretty clear, pretty simple and easy. Another type of grass layer, again very interested how he looks at creating these grass layers, just a thin line and then it kind of works again. So interesting to see. Let's move over to the next one, the final tile set from Nathan. He just did it this week, I think. Bit of a dark tile set, and that's probably the worst comment I'm gonna give on this. It's very dark. Not sure that is gonna work. Maybe would have lightened up the areas a little bit, give it more highlighted blue, but it does look good and interesting. So the dirt layer is very close to the grass layer, so maybe some colorization needed here. And then we have the flowers, the plants, and just alien gooey thingies growing out of everything. And here we have like funny stuff like a pepper and salt shaker, a jar of jelly, I guess, and some mushroom type thingies in the background. Originally this tile set was a mushroom tile set, but the problem with that was the game actually has mushrooms which the player can pick up, and if we also have these mushrooms that you can't pick up, it's gonna be confusing to the player again. So the mushrooms had to go, and he changed it to some green gooey stuff, which works just as well, except it doesn't trigger confusion for the player. Moving on to Slushy's tile set, and Slushy did a video of creating this tile set on his channel. I'll link that below in the description. And he's the first one to actually do something with the top of these blocks. I haven't done it myself just yet, but it works, and usually I do those type of things for platform games. This is your platform, this is everything underneath, and it's very common to do it like that. And I really like how this is just the basic version. This just throws in a couple of extra details, and this one really goes overboard with those details, and that's exactly how the alternate versions are meant to be used. So you have 3 alternate versions, and the computer will mix this all up when creating the world. And then it looks good in most cases. I love the wires underneath these platforms. It's really a very polished tile set. A lot of stuff going on here and there. Even the variations here, like I said, I don't even do those in all my tile sets. Just a little color change actually does a lot of work. It doesn't have to be a huge different type of tile, just changing the color, that also works. Background art, yeah, it works. It looks good. It's all interesting objects, very nice, very interesting. I love it. Moving on to the last one, and this is from Studio Rightside, also on the Discord, and very different type of graphics than the rest. This is where Slushy had this top on the top, literally. He does a top on everything. This might as well work. I'm not sure. We'll see in the game in a minute. Very orangey red grass. We had that in another tile set, but here it works because the dirt layer isn't orange. Very big purple-ish type flowers. Maybe a little bit too big or too much, but they look pretty cool. And well, this is probably the best part of the whole tile set. This is just amazing. And I'm just gonna paste all these tile sets into the game, and we're gonna run it in the game. Let's see how they look. So this is the first tile set. I'm just gonna show you the tile set in different states. Right now it's nighttime. So this is midday, and it is very bluish. I would have liked the more darker tones. And if we go a little bit deeper into the cave, I do like how it looks underground. The blue tones really work a lot better here, as well as the green. It really gives an alienated vibe. I'm just not a fan of how it looks above world. So yeah, I'm just not sure if it fits the game. It's very weird, and like I said, it's not a bad tile set. I'm not judging these tile sets on how well they are or not. I'm judging them how well they suit the game. For this one, I'm just not sure. Obviously, a cold version of the planet looks a lot better. So maybe a tile set that could be limited to just cold planets. That's actually an option. I just came up with it. It's actually an option to have this tile set just being limited to colder planets. Not sure yet, haven't fully decided on this one. Let's move on to the next tile set. Just the first thing that I noticed in the game is very straight lines everywhere. It's very not a lot of room for detail, and that's weird because if this was metal or anything, this could totally work, but we also have all these colorful thingies sticking out, which tell us that it is not metal, and that makes it very weird how it's also straight edged. With snow, well, everything looks great if snow is covering it. That's just a fact of life and nature. So the snow version looks pretty cool. Let's go for a more warm planet. And on a warm planet, there's more grass giving it more detail, but there is a lot of grass and all these little white flowers everywhere. It's very, very cheerful, very bright, but not sure it fits the game. It gives off another little bit of a NES, Nintendo vibe. Next tile set, this is the one from Gendgi, and the first thing I noticed is all these bright yellow, this dirt layer is seen mostly above the player right now. There's just a lot of weird white lines messing up how it looks. It just literally looks very messy. There's too much stuff going on with the dirt layer. Let's move upstairs. Above planet, not really a fan of how all these colors blend in, and there's just a little bit too many details going on everywhere. So for this game, this does not really work. This is Genji's other one, and this one I like a lot better. This could actually just work in the game. And here you see the straight lines on the top and the edges. It works here because you know, and it looks like you're walking on metal, and metal can be straight. Dirt can't be a straight line because there's a bunch of stuff going on. Even so, in this metal layer, it wouldn't hurt if some of these tiles had a little bit of an offset, just 1 pixel lower or a little gap in there. That wouldn't hurt at all, and would actually improve the whole tile set. And on the ground it also looks pretty well. Like I said, that gray stuff, the metal underneath, I would give it a little bit more of a shade and detail so that you notice it's a different layer. And I think this would be a very cool tile set to have in the game. Moving on to, I think, Nathan's tile set. First, yeah, all the grass and the thick layers, very identifiable. The game is procedural, so I'm not forcing the game into any areas, but I'll look at just the difference between a tile set that just works and then this one also looks decent, but you see the mess is going on. This is just very messy and it doesn't work very well. And this tile set has just, it all works together, and that's really what you're looking for in a tile set like this. And it's complicated because we have so many layers going on, but it can be done as Nathan proves in this tile set. So yeah, I love it. I will go upstairs and see how it looks in daytime. The blue stuff, the dirt layer being blue, it works. And so another tile set I think would fit the game pretty well. Yeah, not a lot to complain or talk about in this one. This is the other tile set from Nathan, and the red is just a little bit overkill. I love how the green is working on this one, but I would have rather have seen the green layer as grass, and this red is just too much. It has to be less, then it might work color-wise, or just different color and less. I'm not sure if the color also works on top of this. The tiles themselves, yeah, like I just said, there's something weird going on with the edges, and this one just doesn't really seem to connect together correctly or something. So although if you look at this area, I really like how it looks. So does this area. It's close, but it's not exactly there yet. But it's very close. The tile set number 16, this is his version with the gemstones and diamond-like thingies as grass. Let's just move to another area. So this is the floppy effect I said. I don't like it, but that's just something I can fix in the game engine. And I need to eat, all right. The rest of the tile set, it looks kind of cool. There's a different look to the tiles and the blocks themselves, and the thin grass layer also kind of works, although maybe have it go up and down a little bit, just a couple of pixels lower here and there, so that it actually gives more variation and shape to everything. But yeah, I really like how it looks. Again, a tile set that's very close, just minor details required, but that's all manageable, and I can do that myself if I still decide to put it in the game. This is the bit of the confusing one where the grass layer is also red, so is the dirt layer, but it can work. It doesn't. I never said grass layer has to be green, and to be honest, I kind of like how it looks. Let's just see how it looks. Top side. The brownish layer on the blue actually works. The color blends very nicely, just that the reddish is red grass. It's maybe a little bit too red or orangey. Although well, the grass being green, the flower thingies, and the orange layer, maybe the top of that orange layer needs to have a little bit of green going on so that it blends better with the flowers on top, and you also see that it's actually a grass layer or of kind, and not just part of the orangey browny dirt layer we already have. That might be something that helps. Just giving it a little bit of green on top of that grass layer, so that yeah, I think that might actually work. Alright, tileset 18, Slushy tile set. I can identify it by the little platforms we have going on. It really looks cool in this area. It kind of gets lost a little bit in other areas of the platforms. But it's there and it doesn't distract in any way. The grass is awesome, but I think this is my grass, so moving on. Let's dive down. Here we have a lot of grass going on. Right. So yeah, there's a lot going on in these tiles, but it does all seem to work together pretty well. This really gives off a very technology type vibe to the whole planet, and I kind of like it. Yeah, all in all, it pretty much works. So I think this is another tile set that I wouldn't mind seeing in the game. Pretty well done. I think we have one more tile set to go. Here we have all these tiles with that little brownish layer on every tile, even the platforms underneath, and I'm just not a fan of it. It feels like we just have a bunch of horizontal rows that we're walking on and not a complete area. It doesn't really work graphic wise. The colors, all the orangey stuff, the purple flowers here and there, they kind of look good, they kind of work. But to think about it, it kind of works and it kind of doesn't. I think the edges of these platforms are just what's distracting me. There's just a lot of single blocks being placed everywhere right now and not one big whole block. So I think that's the downside of this one. And everything else kind of looks okay and works. So perhaps if that gets changed, it might actually function as a tile set. Alright, that's a lot of talking about graphics. So some of these will actually fit in the game, and I'll be contacting you guys for that. There is also still time to either modify a tileset or create a new tileset if you also want to join and participate. There are still a couple of weeks until end of February. I can still add new tilesets to the game. So join the Discord, check the news channel. There's all the information. There's a template on how to start working on these tilesets. And create one and let me know. Alright, last week's video we talked about the whole galaxy creation stuff. First comment, so what's next for Ashworld? Don't know, I'm working on Residual. Ashworld, maybe a second part at some point, probably, but for now no plans. Paul Hawker, great video, love the poster, you should make it available on display. Displayed are those metal posters, I think. I haven't looked into them, but you can get this from just the shop at Orangepixel, so that's one option. When will Residual come out, do you think? I have a date, but nothing set in stone, so I can't mention it just yet. But later this year, I can tell you that. The poster looks super cool, it's great to have it all in a poster like that. Automatic template thing. I'm not sure what I talked about compared to using an automatic template, but yeah, the poster is pretty cool. It combines a bunch of characters, a bunch of different art styles, but it kind of looks awesome on the wall here. Right? Who drew that poster? Multiple people actually. Some art is by me, some art is by, well, I think there are 4 or 5 different artists on that poster. It's a combination of multiple talented people creating all these media assets for my games, and then I combine all these assets into the poster. And it's cooperation, I guess. The UV looks amazing. The planet circling the sun is just so cool. Yeah. It's a bit fake because they're not really circling. There's no 3D depth in there. I might add that because, but that's just gonna require a little bit of time to actually calculate the depth, and it looks cool. I agree. That looks really cool. Perhaps the Residual guy has been left behind trying to catch up with the Meganoid ship. Yeah, he's pretty much, I first thought he was like a maintenance guy, but it doesn't make sense. He's in his little ship maintaining the big Meganoid ship. He should be spacewalking. So maybe he's more of a researcher going out to detect some stuff in space around the Meganoid, and then the asteroid problem, he crashes, and I don't think he's ever gonna catch up with the Meganoid. I can probably tell you that. He's not gonna catch up with the Meganoid. Good job, man, your videos are inspiring. Thank you very much, always good to hear. And very cool poster. Yeah, for everybody liking the poster, check it out on the shop at Orangepixel. There's a few other posters as well. You can actually help me as well by buying a poster, and it's pretty awesome having it on the wall. Anyway, a lot of talk this video. I'm gonna end it here, and I'll see you next week. All right, bye.